I want to say something that might sound uncomfortable. I don't believe in the idea that you can start from nothing. And I'm not saying this because I want to discourage anyone, but I'm saying this because I believe in truth, not slogans. I was in a WhatsApp channel some days ago, and that was what actually sparked me to make this video. And in the channel, a post was made. It was a poll actually. It asked this question: what would you choose if you could only pick one? The first option was money, the second option was knowledge on how to make money. Now, a lot of people were choosing the second option, knowledge on how to make money, which I'm not saying is a bad option, but I chose money. And in that particular moment, it felt like I was making a wrong decision because all of those saying that when you choose money, you choose knowledge over money. Because if I were to give you 10 million now, you blow it up, it's finished. But when you have the knowledge on how to make money, you can always make that 10 million naira back and stuff like that. So me choosing money at the surface level, it felt like I was making a wrong decision. But most people would rush to say knowledge, because they don't want to feel like the bad person. And it does make sense. Yes, it does make sense that they choose knowledge, but it does make sense until you introduce context into the conversation. Now, let's be logical for a moment. Nothing means zero. At least we are taught that in school. That zero is not a metaphor, zero is a value. It means nothing. And anything multiplied by zero is still zero. So if someone tells you that you can start from nothing, which is zero, I want you to ask them a simple question. What exactly is the non-zero input? When people say I started from nothing, what they really mean is I started with little money, or I started without capital but I had time, or I had health, or I had internet, or I had access to good education, or I had access to exposure, or I had access to a city that had opportunity. Those things are not nothing. Those things are not zero. They are capital. They may not be financial capital, but they are actually capital. Now, let's be honest. Someone starting in a remote, underdeveloped interior village in Nigeria is not starting from the same place as someone starting in a place like Lagos, even if it's in the mainland. They're not starting in the same place at all because exposure is capital, environment is capital, proximity to opportunity is capital. Pretending otherwise is not motivation, it is actually dishonesty. That's the way I say it. Pretending that these things don't matter is dishonesty. Now, yes, there are successful people from underdeveloped communities. I know someone will want to say that to me that, okay, what of those people that are successful in those underdeveloped communities? But if we're going to be honest, truly honest with ourselves, we will know that the overwhelming majority of these successful people left first. They went where exposure existed. They went where information moved faster. They went where opportunity was closer. Then they came back. Some didn't, but they came back. Now, that doesn't discredit them, but it proves a point. And the point is, they didn't start from zero. They changed their inputs. When I think about this now, it makes me laugh. It makes me laugh because there was a time my siblings and I wanted to leave home. We wanted to move from our community to other cities, to explore life and make something of ourselves. There was this man in our community whom we're close to. He's a rich person. So he was like, why do we want to leave our community and go to somewhere else to look for greener pastures? I'm like, are people not getting greener pastures in our community? But when you look at the situation, this person that was giving us this advice is a successful person who's rich. But he was living in our community, not his community. This is someone who actually left his community and he's not staying in our community. The question is, are there not successful people in his own community? Why is he now living in our community? And this is the same community where he made his wealth. This is the same community where he built the things that he has for himself. So, when you begin to look at this, it changes a whole lot of things because some of these people that are telling you you can stay where you are and you can do something for yourself, a lot of these people actually left. They left their own domain, went to places where they can get exposure, where they can get access to the things that they needed to fuel themselves, and then they came back. Some did not even come back to their own domain, like they didn't come back to their original locations. So when we ask money or knowledge, that question is actually incomplete because the real question is what is your current bottleneck? What is your current hiccup. Now, there are stages to this. There are stages to these bottlenecks. There are stages to this hiccup. Stage one is that stage where you don't have knowledge, you don't have understanding. At that stage, knowledge is everything. It makes all rational and logical sense for you to choose knowledge at that particular moment. But in stage two, you have knowledge, you understand how money works, you know what to do to make the money, but you lack leverage. And that leverage could be capital, it could be access, it could be environment. At this particular stage, money is not greed, money is fuel. And this thing happened to me before. There was a time where I wanted to venture into internet marketing, and I gathered all the knowledge that I could gather. I read literally every blog that I could find on the internet. You know those scenarios where you're not just reading only what you find on page one of Google. Like I was reading information I could find even on page two, page three, page four, page five on Google. I was reading everything that I could lay my hands on, reading every ebook on the topic, watching every YouTube video I could lay my hands on the topic, taking courses. It got to a point where I could attend courses, like online courses, maybe a live session of someone teaching something about internet marketing. And I'll be like, what's this person talking about? This guy is saying trash. And I could say that because I had gathered a whole lot of knowledge on the topic that I could be able to identify when someone is saying BS, when someone is just saying something that is not in line. But I did not have access to the things that I needed at that particular moment to fuel my knowledge. You don't just get knowledge, you don't just gather knowledge. There's a point in your life where you get to that you've gathered a lot of knowledge, and what you need is fuel. Is that something that would push you to the next level? And then you get to stage three. In stage three, you have both the knowledge and you have money. Then the problem becomes execution and systems. Now, most people get stuck because they're solving the wrong problem. At some point, chasing more knowledge becomes a trap. It feels productive. It may feel productive, although for me, it didn't really feel productive. I was even beginning to hate myself the more at the time. To some people, it may feel productive, it may feel wise, but in reality, it's avoidance. Because what you actually need is not another book, it's not another video, it's not another theory. You need a non-zero input. You don't need zero, you need a non-zero input. So let me say this clearly. You watching this video right now, if what I'm saying right now resonates with you, I want you to know that you're not lazy, you're not stupid, you're not broken. You might just be undercapitalized, you might just be underexposed, or you might be operating in a constrained environment, and that matters. Let nobody make you feel like it doesn't matter. It does matter. Let no motivational speaker make you feel like, oh, I started from nothing and here I am. Nobody actually starts from nothing. Yes, nobody needs everything to win, but nobody wins from zero. I would say that again. Nobody wins from zero. You don't need nothing. What you actually need is enough, and enough depends on context. So what you have to do is to look at your context. Where do you currently stand? If your context is you don't have the knowledge on what to do to make money, then go out there, search for the knowledge, watch every video you can find, read every book you can come across, attend every course you can, if that is your context. If the context is you have this knowledge but you need fuel to take you to the next level, then go out there, look for that fuel. Let nobody make you feel like you are greedy because you're looking for that fuel. If your fuel is money, if it's access to exposure, if it's access to network, whatever that fuel is, go out there and search for it and get it. Then if you have both the money and the knowledge, if that is your context, then execute and create systems that makes your execution to be solid so that you can achieve what you want to achieve. Because zero is not a metaphor. Zero is a value. And anything you multiply by zero is zero. Let nobody deceive you. Those people who claim they started from nothing, that they started from zero, they started from scratch, actually had non-zero inputs that they have not told you about. Now I'm telling you. So go out there, search your context, and get that thing that you need to take yourself to the next level. I'll see you in the next video on my channel.